Hi everyone, it's Simon Keeling here, weatherweb.net, 1st of February. Happy February to you. Anyway, just want to have a meander through the charts today. I'm going to take in a few different charts actually, and just take a look at generally at what's going on, have a quick review of how things stand even for the next few days and as we go through the month and perhaps a little bit further ahead as well. Now we'll kick off first of all with the February forecast that went out to clients. Actually this went out at around the 19th, 20th of January out to private clients. This is how things looked then. I'm going to refine this a little bit. This is February temperature. I went a little bit cold, I think, on this. We've probably got that now as 1 below. I think these are probably going to be around about 1 below as well, as is that one there. 2 degrees below down the eastern coast. Well, I'll probably go for a 1 there as well, a near average across the bottom. So I think generally slightly colder than normal temperatures, near normal down towards the south. That's not to say there won't be a few cold days. Rainfall looking like this. Still happy with these amounts generally. I think these are realistic figures really, 150 to 200% across this northern and western parts of Scotland. I think generally for most 150% of normal rainfall looks to be probable through February. Well, 125 to 150% of normal rainfall. I think most of it is going to be squeezed into the first half of the month, particularly kind of from there southwards. I think further north and west it probably just stays pretty wet through most of the month, but I think it's going to be this first part that's wettest of all. There are a few hints of some changes later on. Okay, let's just meander randomly through a few charts. This is Arctic sea ice and Antarctic sea ice extent, and just to show you quickly what's going on here, the blue line you can see here is where we are just at the moment. The black line is the mean. You can see the Arctic sea ice extent is below the 1981 to 2010 average, and actually I better zoom in a little bit closer on that for you. There we go. And the green dotted line that you can see is the 2011-2012 minima, and you can see it's pretty close. So Arctic sea ice hasn't really recovered that much. Antarctic sea ice looking like this. We have the mean, which is the grey line, and this year, which is the blue, and you can see how it's well above normal and above the 2012-2013 levels. So we've got more sea ice than usual in the Antarctic. Of course, it's their summer. Less sea ice than usual in sunspots looking like this. Then this is all the way back to the beginning of the last century here. Look, we're back to 1900. But what I wanted to show you here is just this fall off that's taken place in the cycle since the early 80s. Look, and this is where we are now, pretty quiet. Almost comparable with that of the early 1900s and also in the mid 1920s. A really quiet cycle. Of course, that doesn't mean there aren't times when the sun becomes active. There are, but it's just that we're still in this quiet cycle at the moment. And there's just a zoomed in version of things from the late 1970s for you, showing, look, how the cycles have just come down since then. Okay, on to forecast charts then. 10-day forecast chart from the ECMWF on the left here. We've got the GFS ensemble on the right. This is for the period from next Saturday through to Tuesday, the 11th of February. Now, what to bear in mind here is that this is the mean of the flow during that period, that 7 to 10 day period. But subtle difference actually between the two here. You notice how the ECMWF look has the jet kind of blowing straight across the Atlantic here, as does the GFS, but it's making much more of the trough in the middle parts of the there. But overall, what it means for us is that probably things stay very unsettled, very windy, and also wet for the next 7 to 10 days. Interesting to see the GFS making more of the anomaly in the heights here across Europe. The ECMWF making far less of that, and actually the ECMWF trying to pull the jet stream further south than the GFS. Actually, it's this high here that we're interested in, and I'll show you why in just a second. As I said, a wet period for us. This is precipitation. This is percentage of normal rainfall running forward from today right the way through to a week on Sunday, so Sunday the 9th. And the blue colours here that are shown around the UK, look, showing us where rainfall totals are 150 to 300% of normal, and that covers an awful large area of the country, south and also west. The whiter colours across the central and eastern parts indicating near a normal rainfall. and the pink colours here in the north of Scotland indicating below normal rainfall. And of course, most of the reason for that is that the winds are coming in from the west or the southwest, so it's the west and the southwest that get hit first of all. Incidentally, across the rest of Europe, you can see how the east is dry, very, very dry across parts of Turkey and running into parts of western Russia, and also dry too across northern and western parts of Sweden, and also across the east and south of Spain. But elsewhere, we're seeing around or above normal rainfall over the next 8 days. Temperature in Europe looking like this, around about normal in the UK, a few ups and downs. Generally above normal though, Scandinavia, running down through central parts of Europe too, and into the western parts of Russia. Below normal for Spain, and cold here across central Russia and southern Russia as well. Now, I told you this was a bit of a random collection of charts, so I was having a look at the analogue forecasts and seeing what years compare to this year. Now, British Isles on this chart is just underneath there, and the years that compare, what happens here is that we take an analogy of the forecast for 11 days' time from the GFS ensemble, which is centred on the 12th of February, and then compare that forecast to previous 12th of February. And these are the dates down the side here that compares to. So you can see 1979 is in there, 94, 97, 95, 75 is in there, 1969 as well. Now, the interesting thing is that when you look back at these years and apply them to this year and this particular forecast period, it's interesting to see what happens. So I looked at the 14 days going forwards from the 12th of February. So this was from the 12th of February through to the 26th of February this year, just to have a look and see what happened. Now, out of 4 of these years, 1979 was dominated by a jet stream and low pressure. 94 was high pressure. We've got 74 high pressure, 75 high pressure, and also 69 high pressure as well, or at least high pressure close by, either a ridge or high pressure. So 4 out of the 5 of those years were dominated by high pressure and indicated dry conditions coming through. Now, this has been a consistent theme, you'll know, of my guidance, my forecasts. This idea that from the middle part of February, somewhere into the end of February, dry weather looked like it would get in from the south, but I don't think it's going to be high pressure over the top of us. I just think it's going to turn dry. So it's quite interesting to see that coming in as well as a result from the analogues. And the latest CFS is showing some interesting stuff as well. This is week 1, low pressure is dominant, which is exactly what you expect to see. Week 2, from the 8th to the 14th of February, here's the low out towards the west. Here's the jet stream screaming through. Still stays unsettled, but look, we're starting to see pressure building down here. Week 3, well, not much change through week 3, taking us up to the 21st of February, but there are some hints starting to come through. Here's the jet stream, look, strong as ever, centre of low height, so very unsettled weather continuing. But then, during week 4, look what happens. Higher than normal heights down towards the south, the lower than normal drifts off to the north. We start to see a ridge building through here. And actually, the year that's mostly compared to was the 1982 year and the 1954 year. So it was 1982, 1954 that compared to. Now, I think what will happen is this higher than normal heights down here, excuse me, will be building very early. So I've had this date highlighted of around the 19th of February as my high pressure build date. And I think we're still going to go for that. Actually, didn't I say yesterday 18th/19th? And I think we'll still go for that as the date that we look for an improvement coming in. I think it'll come in from the south. I still think the north and the west stay wet, but I do think this improvement of sorts will take place. But before that, I'm afraid we've got to put up with lots of wind and also lots of rain. Also, I think there will be some cold snaps in there. They might only last for 12 hours or so, but I think there'll be a few in there as the winds just swing around to a northwesterly as the areas of low pressure move through. And talking about areas of low pressure, watch out for some really rogue systems in there. I think some very strong winds, some very heavy rain on its way. And as we're looking randomly around various different things, why not get back to the El Nino, see what's going on there? And you notice how we've been bouncing around these kind of neutral levels, slipped into a La Nina for a while, still bouncing around these neutral levels, but look what the CFS does, tries to bring us up. These are all the various different runs, by the way, of the model, the ensemble model of the CFS, but look what happens. It starts to lift us up by the time we're into this month and through next month and through the spring, and puts us into El Nino conditions. So that'll be interesting. That typically leads to pretty warm weather, southern Europe colder weather northern Europe, wetter to the north, drier to the south. So it'll just be interesting to see what happens there. Okay, so just a quick whiz through the frontal charts then. Here's today, fronts moving their way eastwards. This area of low pressure causing problems, causing very windy conditions through this evening and overnight. Sunday looking a better day, southwesterly flow, still some rain affecting western Scotland, but generally brighter and drier for most of us, certainly lighter winds. On Monday, another front spilling eastwards, bringing rain, but not as windy, not as wet as it has been, but still sufficient to cause local flooding, because it's just basically taking virtually nothing to fall from the sky for local flooding to take place, particularly in the west and south. Tuesday sees a better day again, some heavy showers affecting western areas, but better with some sunny spells, there's my sunshine, out towards the east. But then it's back to wet and windy overnight into Wednesday. Risk of local flooding again. Some heavy showers coming into the west and also the south. A risk of some thunderstorms on there as well. And I think some gale force winds affecting the west or the south too. And they could be up to severe gale force. Thursday sees sunshine and showers again. Once again, most of those showers in the west piling in on that strong westerly wind, which will be up to severe gale force at times, but brighter and drier in the east. And as if we didn't need to know any more, just look at this rainfall totals. Just look at those rainfall totals out towards the west. We're actually looking at 100 millimetres plus in the next 7 days across parts of West Wales, southwest England. Typically 70 to 80 millimetres plus for many of these mountainous areas and hilly areas on western facing coasts. Towards the east, though, drier, typically 20 to 40 millimetres Midlands in the east. Eastern Scotland, though, look at that, could be 11 to 20 millimetres there, so much drier as it will be across central and eastern Ireland. So I hope you didn't mind the randomness of that little scoot around the various different charts there. I just thought we'd do something different really today. After all, it is the weekend. Anyway, once again, thanks for watching weatherweb.net. Don't forget that we're kept free of charge because of you. You come back, you use the site, that means we put more adverts in front of you, and that means we generate more revenue. So thanks for doing that, thanks for keeping us free of charge, and whatever you're doing, have a great day, and keep the sun shining. Bye for now.